Hello, hi, and welcome again to the Terminal Podcast, where in the end, it's all about the numbers. Tonight, we continue this highwayman's journey to the castle on the hill with another THS alum to answer a few questions. Please share your name and where you're calling from.
Hi there. My name is Amy Gerson, and I'm calling from Fort Lee, New Jersey.
Amy, you are here tonight to answer the William E. Brown Memorial Questionnaire as build up to the THS Class of 1995 30-year reunion on October 18. This event includes a 10:30 a.m. tour of our old stomping grounds by a student ambassador with coffee, juice, and Teaneck Bagels to start the day. Later that evening, from 6 to 10, there's a full dinner buffet and open bar at Napoli Restaurant in Fort Lee with music by our own DJ Chalice. There's more information, including discounted hotel and how to pay for all this fun. Check the Invite Me link in the description for full details or find the THS group on the Facebook. Maybe it's on Instagram or whatever. I'm old, hence the 30-year anniversary. So you'd have to ask somebody else. As a former winner of this prestigious and random award, I'm here to ask someone else random questions, and after your answers, you may receive the same accolades I did. Amy, are you ready?
I was born ready.
Okay. Question one. Do you still think or say you're from New Jersey? And since you're in New Jersey, I'll alter that. When you aren't in New Jersey, when you leave the state, like if you were on, say, a cruise, where, and someone asked where you're from, what would you say?
I do say I'm from New Jersey. I am not ashamed.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, being in the state already, yeah, if you're there, you kind of from Jersey, you're still from Jersey. That makes sense. All right. Question two. What was your favorite mall growing up?
My favorite mall growing up was the mall that my mom would never take me to because of the traffic. And that was Garden State Plaza. You always want what you can't have. And the furthest my mom would be comfortable driving was to Riverside Square, or what was formerly known as Riverside Square, because the traffic over by Garden State used to be terrible. So that was at the time my favorite.
Okay. Question, oh, yeah, no, I'll move along to question three. Have you ever used advanced math like pre-calculus or trigonometry since high school?
No, I have never looked at a TI 82 calculator ever again.
I
I
forgot
don't know why
about
I
those.
remember that, but I do. And I still count on my fingers. So, no, never. It's so silly and nonsensical to have had that stuff in school, but they never seem to learn because they still offer it in curriculums everywhere.
Yeah, fair point. Okay. Question four. What do you think of drivers from other states?
Everybody, well, am I allowed to use profanities or should I clean it up? Um, everybody's an a-hole except for us. We're perfect, we're fabulous, but no, everybody's got their own quirks in every state. New York drivers are aggressive drivers, but I lived in New York for a while, so I'm also aggressive, but
Mhm.
I have my own New Jersey quirks in me. So uh, people from other states that are not in the tri-state area are just slow, 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 slow. So I have my feelings.
Okay, clearly you do. Um, we'll move along to question five. Do you still have or wear any of the clothing you wore in high school?
I wish there were things that I think about from not often, but from time to
Mhm.
time, like, oh, I used to love that outfit. Wish I still had it. And now that the 90s are kind of coming back, I've been on a mission to find one of my cute outfits that I used to love wearing, but it's hard to replicate, 30 years later. So I
And
don't have
there's
any.
no, so you don't have it in a box or it's not stuffed in a parent's closet or something like that, or
No, I have a memory box that my mom started for me when I was an infant, but and all the way through high school
Mm.
graduation, but I don't have clothes in there except for a pair of underoos, but that's not from the high school era.
I don't think you can. I don't think you'd be able to fit in your underoos. I
Probably
don't think that's
not.
being underoos is just a little too young to
5 years
just.
old.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I
say you
agree.
say underoos, I think Scooby Doo for some reason, but
Oh, mine was
um,
Wonder Woman, but yeah.
okay. Question 6. Do you remember the black door and the white door?
Yeah, I remember it being called that, but it had no relevance as I remember it. We would walk through whatever door that we
Hmm.
wanted when we were there, but there was like groups that would hang out by one and groups that would hang out by another, but I really just didn't care. Like if I'm white and I would walk through the black door and vice versa, it just didn't matter to me. I didn't see color that way.
Thinking back on it 30 years from now, you say you didn't see color that way, but just the the nomenclature of those doors, just your thoughts on that beyond what you just said previously.
I We have such a rich history of integration in our community where we grew up. And so I feel that there was this it was kind of like a badge of honor in a way. This is very bad terminology. I'm not kind of coming up with the right words, but in my head it sounds great. A badge of honor to say we had this once and it was this. So it's kind of like you something's named after somebody and it just sticks there. But we also, with our being one of the first, I think the first school system to integrate and to make those changes and evolve. It's uh, it's this badge. Badge of honor is the wrong term, but definitely a badge saying this was what it once was, but it's not who we are today. And I don't even know if it still exists in the same way anymore. I'm not closely connected to those who are in Teaneck High School today, faculty or students or anything, so I don't
Hmm.
know if they still call it that. But
Hmm.
at the time, it was definitely it was a part of history.
It's you've reminded me with your response that it was it wasn't necessarily it was more about the terminology of the location, like I'll meet you by the enter
Yes.
door here. It wasn't necessarily attached to anything. It was just the name
Yes.
of that location. It was like, all right, let's I'll meet you by the smoker's door because you know you knew or the metalhead's door, whatever
That's what
the
I would
other
call it.
door.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All it wasn't necessarily going through the door or not. It was that was the location and the name for it.
Yep. It was
But
meeting spots. Exactly. I'll meet you on
yeah,
this store because that's on Elizabeth Avenue.
because
Whoa.
yeah,
Why do I know that? You're
at
right.
some point
Crazy.
the repetition of filling out applications and putting Elizabeth Avenue into it at some point possibly
100
stuck.
Elizabeth Avenue.
Exactly. Uh, question 7. Who did you have a crush on that never knew?
Everybody knew. If Amy had a crush on somebody, everybody knew because I had this stupid thing in my head. I don't know what was going on in my younger years, but I felt like I had to drop notes in lockers. So it was like there's a word I'm looking for. It was they just knew it was me every
Okay.
time. I would drop an secret admirer note in a locker. And like the dumbest thing. And I remember one of my friends, I don't know if I should be naming names, but
There's been many people who have name dropped in
no,
this process, but
okay.
you don't,
Okay.
I
So
mean, I'm not saying you should. I'm just
no, no.
saying that many other people have. So
It's
feel
fine.
free
It's
to
fine.
proceed this.
Rachel
Hmm.
Liebster called it Amy's 31 flavors. Rachel Liebster Alexander now. But Rachel Liebster used to call it Amy's 31 flavors. I had a crush on somebody all the time. Everybody knew who it was at the time. Not everybody, but
Hmm.
the people around me knew who it was and probably others as well. It was not, nobody didn't know.
Okay.
So ever. It was. Ridiculous. I would never do that in my right mind now. My husband would kill me.
Yeah, that might be a problem. Uh,
Probably.
Question 8. Since we've graduated, how far have you traveled physically from Teaneck High School, from 100 Elizabeth Avenue as sort of the starting point? How far have you gone from there? You know what I mean? Like if you've moved to Toronto and then went to, Anchorage, Alaska, that's going from Teaneck to Alaska as opposed to one or the other. So hence the question.
I mean, I've lived around the world. I used to work on a cruise ship.
Mm.
So I've been to Alaska. Um, but I've been to Australia, New Zealand. If you don't like to fly, don't recommend. But
Did you fly to get out there and then get on the
yes,
on the ship there?
yes. So they flew us to LAX and then flew us to Sydney. And then I sailed for 6 months through Australia, New Zealand, and the Fiji Islands. And then we sailed back up to the States and we crossed the equator and we had a ceremony and they forced us into a pool and did weird stuff. And then we sailed up the West Coast to Vancouver and then back at it and then back to New York City at the time. So I've been everywhere.
Oh, well, congratulations. I think you're going
Mm,
to win that award.
yeah. I'm back. I literally live across the road from where I lived senior year of high school. So I didn't go that far.
Well, question 9. What do you remember the science classrooms looking like?
I have very vivid memories of marine biology. That's the only one I really remember very, very well. Um, but for that, my memory is Mr. O'Shea was our teacher, and he had
Hmm.
tanks in the back of the room.
Hmm.
And I was, I'm totally going on a tangent right now, sorry.
No,
But
feel free.
uh, when I was a junior taking his class, I remember, the big front, it was a big open front with a big desk at the front. I think it was elevated, and then there were rows, just rows of like long desks, not individual desks, except for mine because I joined the class about 2 weeks later into the semester or the
Mm.
marking period, whatever we called it. And I sat on a desk along the side wall and everybody, and I got to see everybody and just kind of sit by myself. And it was fun. It was great. And then there were fish tanks and, other tanks in the back. And I remember when my parents were getting a divorce, and I was moving very unexpectedly in the winter that year. Mr. O'Shea took my fish, my goldfish, who I had had for 7 years, and I would visit with him in the back of the room every time I would go in for class. And there were three boys that used to laugh at me when I would go and talk to my fish because he was my fish for 7 years. I loved him. And like whatever. Anyway, and then if you remember in 1994, that winter, we had a massive snowstorm right around midterms, and the school was shut down for like 4 or 5 days.
Mhm.
And when we came back and it was time for midterms, I walked into the classroom and the three boys that would stand in the back, that would sit like in that back row and laugh at me. They were standing there with very solemn looks on their faces. And I said, "What's the matter?" And devastation immediately kicked in because all of the everything froze in the building. Like the pipes froze, the
Oh,
water, like the fish couldn't get fed, everything died in the back, and my fish was gone. And like he was deceased. It was very, very traumatic for me for a fish. I couldn't have a pet at home for allergy reasons at the time. So this was my pet. And his name was JJ, and I loved him. And yeah, it was a sad time, but I remember the science classroom because of that. Sorry, told you, tangent.
no. I'm laughing because I feel as if you've already jumped ahead. Question 10, what
Uh-oh.
do you remember most from your life before graduation? Essentially, it was a moment or two that kind of stands out for you before you graduated high school, and you just said one. So that's so
Oh,
basically,
I remember many. I
just
remember many, many moments of my high school years. And uh may I answer share one more? It was
the
ah,
question asked for one. So
oh, okay.
no, yeah,
Well,
I mean, no, you can. That's what I'm saying. You
okay, okay. Um, so as you asked before about my crushes, did anybody know I had a crush on somebody who was in junior year and then senior year? I had like one long-standing crush and thought it was a brilliant idea to have a t-shirt made. Not with his name on it, but a word that sounded like his name, or two words that sounded like his name. I did it with friends. It wasn't something that like I said, woke up one morning and said, "Oh, I'm gonna make a t-shirt." But my friends and I were sitting and chatting about it, and somebody said, "Oh, you should totally do that." And we went to that make a t-shirt store at Garden State Plaza because my mom wasn't driving, it was my friend's mom. And so I could get there. And we made this t-shirt. It says, "My heart belongs to my ankle." That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. And I remember Jean Johnson, our theater teacher,
hmm
borrowed it one day during a play rehearsal in senior year because she spilled coffee on her clothes. And I never got my shirt back. I think I might have asked her about it. Jean Johnson, our theater teacher. I don't know if I said
hmm
that. But yeah. And never did get the shirt back. I think I asked her about it years and years later when we connected on social media, and she doesn't remember, but I sure do. And the infamous t-shirt, and everybody knew what the t-shirt meant. But
Right.
yeah, fun times. Fun
Well,
times.
you have reached the end and shall receive the same accolades as this former winner. Thank you very much. As always, the Terminal Podcast ends with a trivia question. And as you are well aware, Teaneck High School is a castle on a hill right next to a highway, Route 4, one that's been around since before the Great Depression. According to the Wikipedia, the modern day encyclopedia, Route 4 ran from Absecon, way down in Atlantic County by the southern tip of the state, all the way north to Rahal. No, I always get this wrong. Rahway,
Rahway.
Rahway, which was once home of the Lenape Native Americans, hence the city was named after a local tribal chief. Route 4 was heavily reduced to its current alignment in 1953, a 4 to 6 lane highway divided. That's its official name is actually the McKay Highway, but it's rarely, if ever, referred to as such. Once again, Wikipedia says locally, especially west of the Hackensack River, it is seen as a socioeconomic dividing line between wealthier, more affluent suburbs like Ridgewood and Oradell to the north, and more urbanized industrial working class areas like Hackensack to the south, which I guess is true. I could tell you more random facts about this east-west road that runs from Broadway in Patterson through Fairlawn, Paramus, and Hackensack before ending, as you are well aware, at the George Washington Bridge in Fort Lee. But the number I'm looking for is what is the actual length in miles of Route 4? Doom,
Asking,
doom,
asking
doom,
me.
doom, doom, doom. Yeah, you can't look it up on your phone.
I have no idea.
Well,
I know
then
it
that's
runs from here to there, and I have no
hence
idea.
hence the point for a
12,
numerical guess.
12 and a, no, 16, 17 miles, 12 miles, 12 and a half miles. Boom. Final
12 and a
answer.
half, 12 and a half miles is the number. Thanks for listening to the latest W.E. Brown questionnaire. Once again, this is a promotional tool for the THS Class of 1995 30-year reunion on October 18. Events include a return to the castle on the hill, discounted hotel rooms, a full dinner buffet, an open bar, along with fellow highwayman DJ Chalice on the Wheels of Steel. Check the invite me link in the description for full details, and I'll be back soon enough with hopefully something better to put down. Amy, thank you very much. Take it easy
Thank
down your life's highway and have a good afternoon.